Ba, 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 bam, bam, bam. There's a lot that's not coming together. Let me take off my spectacles. Let me welcome the queen into the building. Maybe this thing is going to come together. My goodness. Yeah.
It's a lot going on. It's a lot going on. I think you are having a blue Monday, just like your background
It's not just blue, it's dark blue. It's not that color over there. It's something way darker. It's very dark. How are you doing,
Yeah,
my queen?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm actually doing very good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just excited, man. Winter is for some reason. I mean, it can be a depressing time, but if you embrace it, it's like it's a nice season. It's like a hibernating season, like take care of yourself kind of season, just align yourself kind of season. I like it. It's just a reminder, Bana, come back to yourself and just regroup. You know,
But
be all over the
yeah.
place. Yeah.
But like
Yeah.
this is insane because I am seeing the fire going, so it's all in the mind as well.
Oh yes, I am playing mind games here, Bahlali. I'm trying to practice what I preach here, psychology behind me, because it's quite cold in this house, and I'm trying to see if I'm going to feel warmer because there's a background of the fire in the house. The man is so get guys, but right now and I'm not losing it. I'm just the tangent just to give the mind like that thing. It's hot. It's nice and warm.
The mind is a very powerful thing,
Very powerful
guys.
thing. Yeah.
It's
Otherwise,
very
how are you, Sly?
powerful. I'm very well. I cannot complain. I refuse to complain. There's a lot going on, not necessarily in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah, but just around in the world and everything else.
Yeah.
And that is why we have such an awesome episode this evening.
Yes.
And I'm actually going to give her a call live on the podcast.
Okay.
Everything else we will handle after, because of the late start as well. We are speaking to a lady who's probably, let me just find her. Let me just find her. I think she's, I know she's under the weather.
Yeah.
They had at the GMAs yesterday, the Ghana Movie Awards yesterday. Yeah, so she was a role player there. Let's
Oh.
see. Let's cross fingers that we'll find D. Hello, D. How are you doing? I'm very well. Can you hear me clearly? Oh man, yeah, it's just unfortunate. I thought that we'd have you on video, but obviously it was a very like I was gonna save this for last. Well, a little bit of it I'm gonna save it for the last. But you guys were doing something extremely exciting yesterday. I was like, Hollywood has come to Ghana, the GMAs. Before we go into all of those, just for the benefit of our viewers, if you can just introduce yourself. Yeah. What? Wow, that's a lot. I was in your country in 2008, and yeah, it was a very long time ago. I really need to. I spoke to one of the chiefs and I was looking for land there. And he said that it actually takes about 10 years for somebody to become a resident in Ghana. Yeah, hold on. Before I am rude. I've got my co-host with me. She's gonna introduce herself and what she does. Yeah, Toto.
Hi. It's so sad for our viewers and myself because I can't actually hear you because of I think the audio is quite fine. I'm not sure if
I think
you're
she's
breaking
suffering
here.
somewhere with audio. Just a second there.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can't hear you can't hear
I
us.
can't hear her. Yeah. I can hear
Oh,
you,
you can't
Slyso, but I
hear
can't hear.
her.
Yes, I can hear her. I
Okay,
think
cool.
because she's on the audio, I think.
We're gonna find yeah, we're gonna find a workaround, and if you have questions in the interim, like yeah, they will have to go through me.
Yeah.
So I was saying, I remember 2008, and significant for me. I was back in the country, and I know that Rita Mali, the wife of the late Bob Marley, is a full citizen of yeah. I think in 2008 she was applying, and that was the story that was going around. And in 2018. She's part of the furniture now. But it's so great, man. Yeah, it's so great. Ours is to have a conversation really around not necessarily the diaspora, but I'm gonna be specific because there's this attachment I'm talking to you about with Ghana that I was there 2008. It was part of an exchange, SABC exchange program with entrepreneurs. So I think we spent some like 2 weeks. Was it 2 weeks? Yeah. 2 weeks or 10 days. Got to travel extensively, got to go to the market, got to go to where were the awards held? Coast. What is it? Is it the south coast? Cape Coast? Yeah, that is where I yeah that made me teary, and I'm sure you know why. Yeah, yeah, it was such a very sad, and particularly on that day there was a carnival as well. I know that Ghanaians have a lot of festivals, like a whole lot of yeah. How many? Like, because when I asked, somebody was like, ah, hmm. Yeah, very humble. Like I remember, even when I was there, one of the things that I was saying because we were broadcasting from there, I was like, I've never seen a people who embrace Ubuntu like Ghanaians. Like I thought at first it was because we were staying in some five-star hotel. People are treating you differently, but you see how you guys treat each other as well. That there's this essence. Mm. And you guys are extremely religious because I remember You know the streets of Accra, right? It's always busy. It's a hectic. I mean, people selling on the street, it's the markets, and for the first time, I saw people selling microwaves and selling caskets on the side of the road. It was taboo for me. We see that at a funeral parlor. What you mean? It was crazy. Wow. Oh yes, yes. A lion. To celebrate the yeah. That is crazy. Like now, before we get into this conversation, very shortly, I'm trying to remember all the good memories that I came up with. You say you work for a media company that has, I think, about 6 radio stations. I know that there are over 10. There are over 10 the last time in Accra alone, radio stations. How many? Oh yeah, so that was one other thing that was just phenomenal for me. And to be, I think I mean, now I'm trying to think of the radio station. I know I had this picture somewhere. I think it's CT or CIT or something. It's one. CTFM, yes, it's one of the radio stations that we visited, and I remember speaking to one of the programmers and the station managers as well, where I picked up where I would like for us to start this conversation because I was talking about like I was so impressed with the way the people are amongst each other. In so much that I was like, what is it Ghana? What is it that Ghana got right in terms of now English is escaping me. In terms of interpersonal relations, in terms of being a determined people, yeah. Mm.
Look, I'm gonna be one of those people who are here to affirm that. The word I was looking for that he mentioned and was for the first time. I don't remember how old I was. The first time I came across it. The gentleman said to me, one thing that I think we got right in Ghana, Slyso, was societal engineering. And was basically now from 1957 to have gained this freedom and all of that, a lot had to change within the people. Okay, you see, I've got stories for everything. It's gonna be this podcast is gonna be long, right across because here's another thing that fascinated me. I was a five-star hotel, right opposite the five-star hotel. Adjacent to it, there is one of those shipping what do they call it? Containers. There was a very beautiful mama who was running a store there. This is right across a five-star hotel. The guys who clean the shoes, because right on the street, five-star hotel, gravel road. The guys who clean your shoes. It was so hot. It was around February. They sleep on the street. Mm, yeah, yeah. Mm. Yeah, like now, on that particular one, the reason why they slept on the street, because I interacted with a lot of people, is that like they come from the villages, right? For them, it's a manner of getting a job and being there and being there as early as possible, so that the businessmen that come out of the hotel can have their shoes cleaned, because they live out in the villages. So instead of them going back and forth, they would sleep there. Like, yeah, I'm trying to illustrate how safe it is. And by the way, 100 meters down the road, there was what we call tavern, like a pub. Um, behind the pub, there was a bank. And throughout our stay, having a few drinks in the evening, there was a Ghanaian policeman or soldier that patrol with bigger rifles. We had a whaler of a time, and that gentleman made sure that we go back. We are safe. It's not like he was set out to be our security guard, that's what he does. He was stationed in a place of enjoyment. And mm, yeah. Oh man, quite amazing, quite fascinating, and I'm excited. I'm not even going into the interview that we're supposed to be talking about. We're talking about everything else, but like how beautiful the country is. But edging closer to what to our conversation. One of the things that I know back in the 80s, I remember at my uncle's homestead, right in the former Transkei. um it's like three, it would be like three different houses in a homestead. It would be the main house, and then it would be like a boxed house, and then it would be a rondaville. I remember the last of the home in the homestead was a rondaville that was rented out to a Ghanaian teacher who taught at Tsomo High School. If you went to Tsomo High School, you are watching the podcast, you know what I'm talking about. And throughout the former Transkei, there were a lot of Ghanaian teachers. So South Africa and Ghana have always had this relationship, and now to come to a moment like we are experiencing now, long after freedom, it must be a bit of um, a hard pill to swallow, you know? Yeah. Mm. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Mm. Mm. Hmm. Other stuff, yes. I remember the clip. Mm. Yeah, yeah. After the first three, yeah. So you have about 600 now. Mm. Mm. Yeah, the very interesting insights there, D. Very very interesting for me is because people have gone back and forth, right? People migrate. It's a global thing. As I mentioned that even in the as early as the 80s, it was the South African homeland that actually said, Ghanaians, you have teachers that actually could benefit us. Bring them over to South Africa. Those were scarce jobs, right? Because South Africa needed that. But what has happened in South Africa, and I'm sure you do pick it up as well, we have porous borders. We have a great deal of corruption when it comes to home affairs, customs. So it's willy nilly. When you go to the border, it stretches thousands and thousands of kilometers. They are not looked after. So it's easier for people who have good intentions and people who have bad intentions. And this has been allowed to go on for it's well over a decade or more, that because it started, being a few people who will whisper to each other, there is a way of getting in. Now, this group of people is not coming through our borders. This is not coming through home affairs. It's not coming through, the proper channels, right? So that has happened. Now, a lot of people are saying, and especially like the immigrants, all right, is that it is not our issue. We are escaping where we are escaping from some countries, for that matter. We are seeking asylum. I mean, South Africa is only looking into the policies that have to do with that right now, and this was they were warned about this like almost 2 decades ago. Because if you remember, I think even round about 1998, shortly after we received, we got our freedom, there was xenophobic attacks. And there are people that passed on, that died there, and the difference between then and now is that what we've seen from groups like March and March and Dudula, they might appear vigilant, they might appear violent, up until today. Up until today, it's only recent that there have been reports of people that have been harmed. All the marches by these particular groups, these are civic groups, these are community groups that came together and said, listen, we are suffering. We've got people that are coming from Bangladesh, from Pakistan, coming to seek asylum in South Africa, and they end up running shops, businesses, you know, while the policies in South Africa say that you need to have a minimum of a particular amount before you can run a business. But as a person who's, yeah, yeah, the, eh, yeah, that is exactly the point I am coming to. This has been aided and abetted by corrupt officials, South African officials. So obviously, if you can get away from paying a ticket and what do you call it? A police officer says like, pay me a bribe, a lot of people will fall for the bribe. So basically, in essence, this is what has happened. And then word gets around, and even the call that is being made by these groups and a couple of other political parties, smaller political parties that have joined, like Action SA, like ATM, African Transformation Movement, and other smaller groups. It is to say that, listen, they actually joined when they realized that the reports about the marches being violent were false. And they got to sit down with March and March. They got to sit down with Dudula and say, what is it that you are complaining about? You can't just willy-nilly chase people away. And they're saying, listen, we are feeling um, 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 we are feeling the brunt. We have a government that says we have what do they call it, a small business department that is given budget every year to give to South African entrepreneurs, to a sissy who runs a salon, to a gentleman who runs a grass cutting business, and all of that money, or most of it, goes into corruption. So there is protracted corruption in South Africa. It is systematic as well. That is why I'm answering your question in this manner. Why is it that these people are going to come from Pakistan and figure it is okay to come to? It is because it is protracted. Currently, I don't know whether you are aware, we have the Madlanga Commission, which is basically unearthing a lot of corruption within the police and the security service in South Africa. So there is an issue. There is an issue. That's why a lot of people find the whole take picking on immigrants being unfair, because they say, why are you not speaking to your government? And my question, yeah, mm, mm. So Yeah. Mm. Look up. I think there was the contract with Goldfields, right? Which is a South African company. Yeah, which is another conversation. I just want to tap into it in trying to respond to probably what the solution should or might be for African countries. It is basically doing what they have decided to do with Goldfields, to say that, like, listen, we've been renewing your contract without asking, without scrutiny, and all of these things, because at the end of the day, you have a government that does not listen to the people of South Africa. The South Africans have been complaining about crime for the longest time ever. We will take the largest and what is it? The oldest liberation struggle party in Africa, which is the African National Congress. I'm quite certain that there is a protracted corruption that is being picked up throughout the world that emanates from this particular political party that has ran South Africa from 1994 up until recently when they joined the GNU. And even the necessity for the GNU was from how corrupt and unaccountable the government had been. So if you ask me, as a South African, I love my country. I don't know whether someone would say that like my conversation is treasonous or whatever, but it is for Ghana. It is for because Nigeria is a story on its own that I'm hoping to have a conversation about, because yeah, we know what the issue is there. But to pick on countries like Mali, where we've always had immigrants that have lived in Africa, that have in South Africa, that have followed the rules and policies and all of that in South Africa. I think then the next step would be for these African countries to say, South Africa, you you are running companies. You have MTN, you have Goldfields, you have what, Checkers, ShopRite, whoever. This needs to be at a diplomatic level, because it would not help to for people to go and boycott, to go and and destroy infrastructure, blah blah blah. Because if you are going to take on MTN in Ghana, you are basically harming and hurting not only the South African company, but you are harming the Ghanaians that are actually employed. So it is something that is best dealt with diplomatically. And I think the call that Ghana, to an extent, has made is proper, to say that we are going to report you to AU, but now the effectiveness of AU is a story for another day as well. But but I think I needed to speak to somebody from the diaspora. I needed to find out, and it just happened to be the first person that I find is from a country that I have been to, that I have experienced, whose people to date, my barber, for the longest time ever, has been a Ghanaian guy. you know, a Ghanaian guy. So I call him and I ask him, I'm like, dude, there's this thing that is happening. What are you going to do? Because there is that commonality in terms of values, which you spoke about. Is that that's what you get taught at the end of the day. So for me, it was a bit of a sore sport to actually realize that like now everybody is being painted with the same paint or whatever brush, yeah, whatever the saying says. Because even in immigration as well, there are people, your neighbors. I'm just gonna try and be diplomatic for the sake of it because I need an entire your neighbors pass on, come to South Africa. In fact, no, hell, no. We stand for truth and that, right? A lot of Nigerians come to South Africa under the guise of being Ghanaians, all right? And we know what the issues are as far as, I don't want to talk too much because we don't have a Nigerian to speak for themselves. But these is what out there, and even leaving South Africa because it's easier to get in here. It's easier to get fake documents. And you start in South Africa, you get your fake documents and your passports, and you leave for United States of America or you leave for Europe, wherever, saying that you are a South African, and you cause trouble in those countries, in so much that there are so many places where we didn't require the documents and visas to be in those countries, but because it is not South Africans. I can vouch for South Africans. Yes, there are people who commit crimes in South Africa, not at the level at which it is happening. So it's a very interesting one. But I think the essence and where I was trying to get it was, it is by now, the South African government should have had a conversation, should have picked up a call and spoken to the Ghanaian, the Malawian, the Angolan, presidents or diplomats, to say, how do we have a collective voice that says, listen, we get what you are trying to say. This is what we are dealing with. Cyril Ramaphosa should have done that like ages ago. I know he has palafala and all and impingement to deal with, but it is taking too long. Yeah, in some. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. It's very interesting. The entrepreneurial spirit of Ghanaian people. All right, as we are. I don't know how much you shared, right? So I'm picking up some comments here. There's one. It comes from a South African, Slyso and the Mamele and the Lape Mother also NU10. That's a guy who says that he is watching from Nelson Mandela Bay. But get this, I'm gonna put him up like he's promoting his business, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know, Tanko. Do you know him? No, for sure. Yeah, so he's out here. He's selling us data, guys. I have 10 gigs for 25 cedis, and that is Ghanaian currency, right? Cities, yes, yes. So obviously he's out here. I'll put him out on on the entrepreneurial spirit that we're talking about. It's like, okay, you guys can talk about whatever you talk about. Me, I'm out here. I'm selling thingy. I've never come across a South African on this podcast that says that, guys, I am renting out cutlery or whatever. This is in real time uh, entrepreneurial spirit, where a person says that, like, I'm not taking my chances. Maybe they will put it up and maybe they not. And here we are doing so. And lastly, oh my gosh, Utoto is going to kill me because she's unfortunately unable to hear us. I want to play these clips. You'll probably go back and I just want to talk about, if you can give me quickly the history of the Ghana Movie Awards. And yeah, before you do that, I just want to play these clips I picked up very quickly. But yeah, it is a clip from the awards. The glamour, the fashion. Mm. Yeah, yeah, you always get those. Yeah. Yeah. I think I'm gonna end it here. And in my ending it here, look, let's hope that as far as this issue is concerned, the conversation will probably totally be different. But one thing that you and I are going to do, and that I'm gonna have you what English escapes me. I'm sort of like going to put you in the corner about. As far as entertainment, I know that it's alive and kicking in the diaspora. Even if it's monthly, I would like for you to commit to speak to us at least once a month. Around, yeah, and obviously we will have you on video next time. You have the show, yeah, yeah. All right, man. Doreen Avio. Yeah, I would like to. Yes, yes, yes. I, well, thank you so much for joining us. And well, while the world is going haywire, I'm kind of wired that way. Like I always ask if the Wright brothers invented the aeroplane, who invented or who thought of the parachute? So I'm the guy who thinks of the parachute. So I think this conversation and this connection is going to be going on for quite some time, and we become the parachute of the continent. All right. All right. Go take care of yourself now so that you can be better for your show tomorrow morning. All right. All right. All right. Okay, cool. That is DOREEN AVIO. Yeah, right here. Having a conversation with us. Oh my gosh, yeah, I am, I am, I am, I am, I am.
You know what? This yabona undisukela ngale Blue Monday yakho eblue edaka.
Oh
No.
man, yeah, because we had tried to connect normally, but obviously because of the challenges, and I did not foresee that we will run into an issue where yeah,
Yeah.
you are not here to ask those questions. But the good news about it, Toto, is that we starting from now. She's part of a media group that has 6 radio stations. They have TV stations. She has her own morning show in Ghana. Um, yeah. Um, so she's committed that we are going to have her so that we can get some entertainment news coming from the diaspora, from the rest of the continent, and anything that will be current affairs that needs discussion and stuff. So that's how we grow this podcast. So this means that we now have a sister that is going to be affording us, yeah.
Clock it. I love it. Very, very important conversation. This, like, so I could pick up here and there. It's yeah, it's just a pity that we couldn't hear what doing, but that those relations, where we have to differentiate between people that come into the country with good intentions to work, to contribute to the economy,
Mm.
because we are we are an international country, global space,
Yeah, yeah.
and South Africa is doing the same, going to other countries, following the laws, to study, to work. And I think that there needs to be that differentiation in the conversation to say there is this group of people that are coming into the country to cause disruption, break the laws. And of course, there is the assisting part in our, system, officials that are colluding and contributing to this. So I think it needs to be looked at not just from a superficial point of view to say South Africans are xenophobic. I think that is a very, very narrow way of thinking about it. South Africans are,
Mm, mm.
being
Yeah.
violent out of the blue, chasing out everybody. It is unfortunate that there will be people that are genuinely just coming in to work and are living. I mean, we're people that live in harmony, African brothers and sisters who are living in harmony with South Africans. Let's be honest about that, you know. But there is this aspect that needs to be sorted out, that government needs to, sort out. The systematic issue that I think has been brought about cannot be ignored. So it is, I think it's something that it needs to be said, it needs to be dealt with. It can no longer be just brushed under the carpet as if everything is all good.
And I came into this conversation, Toto, with an open mind. It's just going to be a conversation. I'm going to allow I think even throughout my radio career, unless it was a directed like a specific interview, but like when I have such, I just allow the conversation to find its feet and path, and direction. And I think that's what came out of this, not coming out defensive, not coming
Yeah.
out, from her end as well, where she's gonna feel attacked, you
Yeah.
know, um, um, uh, uh, so it wasn't because now she is clear about what is actually happening, and this has always been my fear that the African leaders are responding not necessarily to what is coming out or what
Yeah.
is actually happening on the ground, and
Yeah.
also the wording that comes from our officials and the political party leaders to say that these xenophobic they while the groups are saying over and over again, there is nothing xenophobic about it. Go look what the word xenophobic means, you know?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
this has got nothing to do with an African hating another African. The
Yeah.
issue is about opportunities. The issue is about the corruption
Yeah.
in South Africa, So the issues are in point form, but the 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 the, the wording that comes from officials and even the president when he spoke, even the who was it, the minister in the presidency, where
Yeah.
he was saying like nothing is going to be tolerated on the 30th, there will be no shutdown. And
Mm.
I made an example about Kwame Nkrumah, the first president of Ghana, which is how they took Ghana from the British.
Yeah.
They had peaceful marches, stayaways, you name it. They were all peaceful, and that is how Ghana in 1967 gained. Oh, it was 1967. My gosh, I need to go back and think of my look at my history. But this is how they defeated the British to say that
Yeah.
like out of our country
Yeah.
everything was peaceful, and up until today, once again, call me an advocate for March and March. Call me an advocate for Dudula. Call me an advocate for Action SA. What's the other party that has joined them? African Transformation Movement that have actually decided to say, South Africans, we hear what you are complaining about.
Yeah.
It might be
Yeah.
scattered because these are people that these are community leaders. These are
Yeah.
people who live with the people on the ground. So they are
Yeah.
responding to the first ouch,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Because when you're gonna say ouch, it's in your hand. But when you go to the doctor, he's gonna say, no, it is something more than that. The levels at which the communication is or the issue is dealt with.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, it was just one of those. My gosh, it's the first time that we go over 2032 in a very long while.
Yeah, and I'm going to for this episode I'm gonna forfeit the moment, but I do want to just say the message along June is clear around the mental health aspect of sphere, that it's the promotion of men's mental health. This month we're talking all things men, and we know the underlying themes, like, so we know, especially with black men, is indoda ayikali. We siyayikhala imena ngokule ntetha, we siyayikhala,
Mm,
because it is one of the things that keep on men suffering, that actually it traps men. I think it's a trap for men to suffer in silence, and it is one of the drivers of the suicide rate amongst men, because of exactly that. Indoda ikali. So that means a person must suffer in silence, and particularly men. And not to say that mental health only affects men, because I know sometimes, when we talk on social media, people like to go into these debates about what about the others. No, we're just saying that this focus this month is to encourage and to say, let's break the stigma around men's mental health, and let's encourage men to actually understand that their vulnerability is not weakness, and that it is a sign that they are
mm,
human first before they are male. you know, before dada, they are just a human being, and they're of course gonna have some issues that are heavy for them too. And
Mm.
one needs to find expression, right? Because that's how we heal. You have to express, you have to let things out, otherwise they become very harmful. And
Yeah.
yeah, so that is basically what we're saying. Ngendlela zonke, is to say, speak up, man.
No, me, I was just about to say I didn't want to stop you because I wanted to get this entire,
Yeah.
revitalization. I cry like a motherfucker. I ain't none of those. I ain't none of those. Like, yeah,
Kodwa ke
hey,
xa
tigers,
ukhala, kodwa xa
tigers
ukhala
don't cry.
xa ukhala kuyindoda ungade uthwale izandla entloko. Yee!
But not that much. Like one of the
Kazala.
things that people probably don't know about me, like I'm a highly emotional person. I'm
Oh, I
moved
don't
by
think people
emotions.
don't know. I don't think people don't know. I think people of the podcast know very well. I think
Is
we
it?
like yes.
Toto, I
I think they
cry.
know very well. You always crashing out on here, brother. What are you talking about? He
Toto,
was crashing
I
out when we started. You are always on some like, hey, can you believe what's happening?
I would swear, I swear that somebody who upset me. Yeah, I was going to a pharmacy. There's this young boy. He works on the floor at the pharmacy, and he starts. I come in all jokingly, like
Yeah,
always, and he says something quite disrespectful. Like I
yeah,
went in there. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have fun. That's what I do whenever
yeah,
I walk into a room full of people. So I'm like, yeah, wait, 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 wait. And he just starts being this like the way I responded to him, you know, when I drove out in the car, I was like, "Eish, maybe I should not have been that harsh. Eh? Yeah,
yeah,
maybe I was harsh. No, but he was being disrespectful. So I'm having this conversation all by myself that like, yeah. So now I'm blaming
yeah,
myself for something that
yeah,
was, for disrespect that was,
yeah,
meted by somebody else. And
yeah,
one of the things crazy, uh, um, in throughout my DJ career, like I've always had this thing of playing songs that like that are meaningful, that are impactful. Because as a DJ, you're not only out there to play hits, you're also out there to introduce people to music as well.
the
I
music, yeah,
remember so many times on the dance floor. Thank goodness in the DJ box. Thank goodness it's always dark in clubs. Because I play a lot of deep house. There will always be a highly emotional song that gets me crying behind the thing. This is a confession, yo. I would,
ask
I
him to
would.
cry behind the deck while we are dancing here.
Listen, my first thing is young DJ. Maybe you wanna listen. The first thing that you do, start with a banger or a profound song that
Yeah,
everybody can dance to. That you can mix in easily to the next song. Once
yeah,
you got those two songs and it's seamless. Well, your mixing might not be perfect, but like the songs because you warm up as a DJ. But
yeah,
once you get people moving, do not be scared to explore and play that new song that's always been in your bag that you feel like will impact people a particular way. So I've always been that kind of DJ. Like I would like to have a song that like I will watch people. I remember this one with this one gig in King, where this lady came out after that. I think the song was called Little Girl, Little Sister, pick yourself up. God didn't make you this way, blah blah. But as a house song, as a deep house song, I will link it somewhere. Baby, put your hands right now, ba-da-da-da-da,
oh my
something like that.
God, one thing about deep house though, it's very, it can turn into spiritual very soon, very, very quickly.
Yeah,
It can
yeah,
get you there. Like yeah, I get it. I
yeah.
actually find it very cathartic. Deep house sometimes. It kind of helps you to free associate. So you're almost free to express the emotions. Someone
Mm.
without even having to focus too much on the words. There are just
Oh no, for
songs,
sure.
yeah, that will
Mm.
get you to a very emotional place.
Yeah.
Love. Yeah.
Yeah, Queen. I'm gonna thank you very much, and obviously, yeah, I'm glad we're gonna have and speak to Doreen some
Yeah.
more. Obviously, she laid out her resume
Yeah.
profile, so at least we'll be getting credible news and information from a fellow journalist
Yes.
who's hardworking. She has her own show in Ghana, so we will have that have her come back again. But one thing I want to touch on before you leave, we often talk entrepreneurship. I've just put out your Msangana Torega at
Yeah.
gmail.com and 073-421 $3360, which is for your private practice. And a lot of people are gonna say she works for this person. She works for this institution. What do you
Yes.
mean private practice? Like for somebody that like actually doesn't really know what like or would like to or listens to you and follows you on social media platforms and
Yeah.
wants to engage with you, like how like yeah, just explain the private practice and yeah,
Yeah.
too
So,
much.
so here's the interesting thing and a nice thing about being a health professional, especially if you are like a doctor, a psychologist, psychiatrist, or psychometrist, whatever.
Mm.
When you register as an independent, practitioner, meaning that even if you work for somebody or organization, you are always independent, right? So you can
Ah,
always venture into your own business. We just call it private practice. I don't know why, but that is basically my practice that I can run under my name because my name is automatically an enterprise, right?
yeah.
Yeah, so that means that I can still work for an organization and still run my practice part time. Some people prefer to go into practice full time as a full on business and focus on that and do part time work or freelance work with other, organizations. So in my
Mm.
case, I work for the university, yes, full time, but private practice is what I do independently outside my working hours. Yeah, and my predominant work is with adults. It is with teens. I love working with teens, Slyso. Just getting
Yeah, I know.
our kids to really just build their confidence. A lot of young boys and girls in high school struggling with bullying, struggling with just, their self identity issues and all of that. So that's the kind of work that I do. I work with, you know, your adolescents, if you may
Mm.
call it that. Couples here and there, relationship difficulties, and just helping people navigate, their relationships. Not necessarily marriage, because people often think when you talk about relationships, it's about marriage. No,
Yeah.
any kind of relation. I work with, same-sex relationships. People that are gay, lesbian, whatever. The case may be, who are in relationships and are finding
Mm. Mm.
that they're struggling with that. And then one of the big things that people don't know that I do is assessments with young children, eskolweni, who are struggling. So you can actually hit me up if you have a child who's maybe struggling. This now is attached to, it could be neurological developmental issues that are going
Mm.
on. So a lot of times what happens is that we don't pick up that Umdana has some difficulties until they start schooling formally. So and then issues start to come up. So it could be that there's a learning difficulty that has been unidentified, or there's a developmental delay, that is obviously impacting your child. So we will run assessments and make sure that we recommend, things that are within your budget, things that are realistic for you to be able to support your child. And sometimes it's about also Slice of helping the parent to take the child out of the mainstream, because sometimes the mainstream is the problem because your child is not suited for that. So
Mm.
helping you to do the assessment, because when you go, for example, and apply to a special school, you need an assessment that is done by a psychologist. So for your child to be accepted. So we do offer that, and career guidance for especially the kids that are choosing their subject choice, and just career guidance and assessment in terms of just thinking about careers, not in the traditional manner that parents always think about. Now you want to teach us,
Yeah.
you know, helping young people
Ungazundiphambanela
now.
apha, ungazundiphambanela. Zii-forms zantoni ezi?
You know. So helping even parents now, helping parents, I always say career is something that we always think about it as an individual thing. I always think about it from my side. I think about it as it's a communal thing. I need to bring in my family to understand that, you know, my thinking along my career journey, and sometimes it's preparing abazali ubana, look, your child is more creative. You need to give space, you know, and allow for them to explore that. You know, or your child is, you know, very much analytical and, you know, might thrive into that. So there are very much now not so traditional careers that we need to allow our kids to explore that we don't know about, you know, as abazali. Learn with your child. Take yourself on a journey with your child and support them. But get a psychologist to do the assessment just to assure you, so that you know that your child knows the options, and not feel stuck and not feel like a failure if they are not following the traditional way of, you know, going about work and just gaining financial freedom and independence. Yeah, so a lot of things that I do in the private practice. Come along, hook.
Yeah,
You can
guys.
just inquiries there. A lot of my friends on TikTok, a lot of our friends on Facebook, they always tell me they saw, you know, something. I appreciate you guys. And sometimes it's just queries. I am always open. Cardinal pleasure. I just look up and I give people also information to go and consult. Even if I'm not Mali, you know, you don't want to get services from me, please come ask for information. I will provide you credible, reliable information around mental health, and I will direct you to support services that are there, can be around your area. So, yes, it's a business, but it is a passion. We want to get everybody, you know, flourishing, living meaningful lives at the end of the day. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. And ladies and gents, here, singanatobega@gmail.com, 07342133360 to get in contact with her. Hence we say we want people with a proven record to work here to assist us, so that you know that the information that you're getting from the Slyso TV
Yeah.
podcast is legit, just like we've just begged an
Oh
award-winning.
man.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yes, I would do
Love
this thing very soon. I
love
said,
that for
please
us.
do follow sliso.co.za, because pretty soon people are gonna be winning some of this. I don't know whether the camera shows it the other way around.
Yes, it's showing.
Yeah, it shows it cockeye, this
Yeah.
nonsense. Uh, but you'll see it nicely on the on the website, sliso.co.za, people. Queen, thank you so much. Yeah, unconventional show, which is how I like life. I think
Yeah.
I was, yeah, I'm just wired differently like that. It's like, uh, yeah, yeah. It's like, I like that. Let's keep it Masamba. So working like this.
You are weird. You've always been weird, okay? This
We can't
is
all be normal.
this
And we
is
can't all be normal, Queen.
no,
Otherwise,
no, no. These are the times
um,
that I miss to see something like I just need a sane person here who's gonna
amen.
tell this guy. May his soul
Amen.
rest. Sister
So
will
rest
always be
in peace.
of this family.
Yeah.
Just waiting in our heads there to tell us about, hey chief, time man, hey, come on. No,
Still, come on, bro. No, and because you like to think these things, you're relaxed.
yeah.
Rara Zizi, my crate digger. Continue to rest in paradise, my boy. Queen, we've come to the end of it.
Yeah,
We are seeing each other again next week.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. We didn't have time to get around to talk about June 16 being cancelled because people are exercising for the 30th. We don't know what's going to happen on the 30th, but the promise was that there's going to be nothing violent. But
Yeah,
it's going to be
the
very
peaceful march
interesting to
that's
see.
happening on the 30th, nothing violent, just demonstrations and taking
Look, we
peace.
had four.
I
I'm
understand.
had four.
And
I've been.
you can't now say people mustn't march. That's just not acceptable. People
It is the
must
threat that
protest.
upset me. It is the
Yeah.
threat that upset me.
Yeah.
That came from the. It came from Angie when they had that press conference, and then she doubled down, changed her tune when she was interviewed outside. No, people are free. You know, people are free to march
Of course
too
we are
much,
free.
just as long as because the soldiers are trained to be here. I was like, yeah, whatever. Somebody told you that you were effing up.
Yeah.
And then recently it was the minister in the presidency,
The presidency.
Kumbuzi or something,
Yeah.
who came out with statements in the media that there will be no people are being warned there will be no shutdown, as if the shutdown depends on government. When people organize themselves and tell themselves that they are not going to do something, right? They're going
Yeah.
to be peaceful. You know, that's what it
There was
means.
a there was
You can't force them.
there was a march, there was a silent protest now not long ago for GBV. I don't see this any different to that. I mean, it's still it's a social issue, and that was allowed. So you can't then allow certain things to be expressed, the concerns about certain issues to be expressed, and then others you're going to suppress them. No, we
Yeah,
can't do that. No, no, no.
yeah.
Yeah.
Quinn, let's call it a night. We are definitely hooking up next week again, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much to follow us and like us on all social
Thank
media
you, our
platforms.
Facebook friend and our Ghanaian friend who was selling us. What was he selling us? He was selling us
He's selling data.
that.
Data. Yeah, yeah. I know that the currency is CDs. It's
I
Ghanaian
must go
CDs.
to Ghana and get you the currency, and then I'll bring it and I'll buy it to you. I'll
And
buy
I'll
it.
buy. Quinn,
Bye.
thank you
Bye.
so much. Have a wonderful one. Until next week. Thank you, guys.